Guys, the Guardians just keep on winning. 17-6 ties the best start in the history of the Cleveland baseball franchise. And this
Thanks for
time
stealing my thunder, Mike.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bull. Here,
I
the
wanted to
Thunder's
mention
yours.
that.
Go.
Well, I wanted to mention that. The team's been around since 1901. The franchise has been around from 1901. They've tied the record, their record for the best start to the season. The last time they did it was 1999, starting 17-6. They have the best run differential in the game by, I think they're 11 runs better than the Atlanta Braves.
That's stunning. That's the part that's crazy.
It's crazy because run differential is a real telling stat.
It is. I love that stat.
Yeah.
It measures your pitching and your hitting at the same time.
The Guardians have scored the second most runs in the American League. Who had that? The Guardians have allowed the least amount of runs in all of baseball. They're top 5 in hits per game in the majors. They're they're 6th in runs per game in the majors. 13th in home runs per game, which for them is a great accomplishment.
Huge jump.
They're top 5 in earned runs allowed by a pitching staff. They're top 5 in walks and hits per 9 innings by a pitching staff. And they are strikeouts per 9, I believe they're 3rd.
Yeah.
They're doing that. And Ben Lively has been great. He's a journeyman. I don't expect him to be great, but first two starts have been fantastic.
It's been awesome.
He pitched really well. And once again, the Guardians won a game that they absolutely would have lost last year. It was a scoreless game. Red Sox hit a home run in the 7th. Last year, they lose that game 2-0.
You felt like when that happened, like, just because the way they were hitting.
Right.
But what's crazy, Bull, is they're getting production from the guys you need production from.
Yeah.
But last night, they get a couple of hits from guys that, you don't know what you're going to get from these guys.
True.
And it's almost like the most unlikely guy comes through when no one else has.
Yeah, Rocchio got a big hit last night. He hasn't been hitting.
Yes.
Florial got a big hit last night.
That's exactly right.
No doubt. Jose did hit that. That was a very odd home run.
He doesn't hit
never
opposite
them
field
like that.
home runs.
No, not like that.
No.
I mean, that was
But it was a 90. That was
Especially from the right-hand side of the plate. I've never seen him go opposite field and hit a home run. And when
I don't know that he has.
I think Zach Meisel said it was the first time he's done it in 7 years. Hit one that far down the right field line.
Yeah, it almost never happened.
Yeah, I mean, that was bizarre.
I think he might have been sitting something off speed and got a fastball that he thought he could handle, and he jumped on it. Because it's very rare to see him hit a ball the opposite way. I've seen him hit balls to right center from the right side of the plate.
But not like down the line.
But I've never seen him skirt the foul pole like he did with this one. But he smoked it, man, and you knew it right away. It was gone.
By the way, I need to come up with a T-shirt. I don't know what this Super Mario thing is right here.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
their
rocking right
celebration.
now. That celebration on the second base. I need a T-shirt.
And he did it rounding the bases.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
and
contagious.
They scored those first 2 runs against Tanner Houck, who's pitched better against them than anybody.
What you mean?
He
was out there looking like
He killed them
Verlander
last week, and he was killing them last night. And to score those 2 runs off him in the bottom of the 7th,
big.
It was
real
big.
And then Bull, I think the unsung group of this team has been the bullpen.
Oh, they've been great.
The bullpen has been absolutely lights out.
Yeah.
Clase came in last night. I think he struck out the side.
And he's feeling himself
He did that,
right now.
correct.
He had wicked stuff.
He is at the top of his game right now.
Throwing that 100-mile-an-hour cutter low and in to a lefty, you have no chance.
The movement, like the second strikeout, he just blew him away.
Overpowered.
But the first and third strikeout, like the batter missed by like 3 feet. They had no clue where the ball was going.
Man, he's looking
He
good.
is bar none the best closer in baseball right now.
Absolutely,
you know what sucks
100%.
about this? You know what sucks about this?
Yeah.
Is the fact that we didn't have any sort of we didn't have any hope in terms of these guys playing the way they are, being in first place like they are, given what the roster is. This is the whole old argument that comes back to hold true. Like in baseball, if you're not really spending no money like that,
I don't know how they're doing it.
I can't. Now, how am I going to come up next year and say y'all should be spending this bread? But look what they've been doing with this.
Well,
I can still say that.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. If you're doing that on a Minimowski payroll, it just tells you how smart their front office is and how efficient they are, how they get more with with less money invested into payroll.
Give them more
Give them a little bit more.
Let them put
because there still are there are weaknesses on this team.
There's no doubt.
They're going to need another bat.
They're going to need
another
pitcher.
They're going to need another arm too.
They're going to have to trade for a pitcher. I think for the first time, the last significant pitching trade they made starting, I think, was Ubaldo Jimenez like 12 years ago.
Yeah, they don't need to.
You know,
where
this year they do.
And they've got the #1 overall pick in the amateur draft. That's when is that? June?
Yeah,
late June.
Well, I like that Caglione.
The kid from Florida. Oh my God.
No, was it Georgia or Florida? Caglione.
No, Florida.
Caglione's Florida. Charlie Condon is Georgia.
Yeah.
Right, it's the Florida kid that I like.
watched the Florida
I'll be watching
kid,
big lefty.
Well,
they also got this other big lefty, Ralphie Velasquez, who's killing it in the minors. And Manzardo's red hot. He's hit home runs 3 days in a row for Columbus.
Yeah.
So he's going to be up soon. But like, who do you take off the roster? You probably want to take Ramon Laureano, but they're paying him like $8 million. So I don't know if they're going to do that.
Bull, he's been a disappointment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to play him every day. But man,
he struck out looking at a pitch yesterday that was like served
I
up
know.
on a platter.
But yeah, Barlow's been really good after he started. He was shaky in the beginning.
Yeah,
obviously
thrown well.
Gaddis has been fantastic. I mean, they have found such a role for him.
It looks like Gaddis will be your 8th inning guy.
Yeah.
And Clase will be your 9th inning guy. And if they end up having as much success as Tito did with his 8th and 9th combo in 2016, this team is you're talking about playing 7-inning games.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can't. The pitcher's got to be able to go 6.
Yeah, but you know what? It seems like here recently the starters have been stretching out into 5 and 6.
It's been better. The starters have been better. I'm still worried about McKenzie. But I think Bibby's going to be fine. Even though he hasn't been great, his strikeout rate is up from last year.
What
which
happens
is
when
encouraging.
Gavin comes back? Like Cookie goes where? Because Carrasco has pitched relatively well.
He's pitched decently.
Is he a long reliever that you throw in the bullpen?
It's going to be interesting because really their worst starter has been Allen. I mean, he's probably been
their worst.
Yeah, but
I have no worries about Allen.
But
he looked good his last time out.
I don't trust McKenzie, although he was okay last time.
Yeah,
but it was against Oakland.
I just feel like it's a matter of time, like with McKenzie. Like
I do too. I'm holding my breath.
Yeah, so, and I don't want to say that, but it's just he has a torn ligament in his elbow. I mean, you could tell his velocity. You could tell. You can really see, like, even the movement on his pitches, it's just not, it's not
he
to the
doesn't
level.
look like the same guy.
Yeah.
And it starts with the velocity. And then if you're not trusting your velocity, you start to nibble. You don't work the center of the plate. You're working on all edges. And when you work all edges, you miss. And you might miss your spot, which was set up outside. Instead of hitting the corner, you miss by 3 inches. That's a ball that gets spit on every time, and your walk total goes up.
By the way, I got two pitchers I'm keeping my eye on that I'm interested for the Guardians.
Oh, nice.
One is Jesus Luzardo, who used to be on Oakland. Now he's on the Marlins.
Right.
He's off to a rough start. If you look at his numbers, he's a good pitcher. He's had a lot of success.
Right.
But his last start was actually pretty good. The 2 starts before that, he got smoked. But he's a good pitcher, and the Marlins are a disaster.
Right.
So. And they're going to have some young pitchers coming off the injured list later in the year. Not that he's pretty young too, but I got my eye on him. And then even a cheaper guy, Paul Blackburn of Oakland. I like what I've seen from him.
Yeah.
He's always been a pitcher that's been pretty good. He's been injury prone, but he's a guy who I think could help the back, because I think they're going to need a starter at some point.
I agree.
I'm still a little worried about the power, just a little bit.
There's some concerns.
Yeah,
but Josh,
because like we played the Yankees a couple years ago, and it's going to be some games you're going to need a 2-run home.
Yeah, you're going to need some home runs. Yeah,
especially
but I'll tell you,
playoffs.
Jay, I'm curious your take on this. Yesterday we were debating. I said that since May of last calendar year, that Josh Naylor is the best hitter on this team.
He is.
Right? I mean, he's better than Jose right now.
He is.
Remember in April, he couldn't hit lefties, as we know, before last year.
Yeah.
Last April, got off to a terrible start, still couldn't hit lefties. Since May of last year, the guy's gone from being, I can't hit lefties, to I'm very good against lefties.
He has a better record against lefties than a lot of their righties do.
It's insane because he couldn't hit lefties to save his life before last May.
And
he's turned it around. I said yesterday, if it's the bottom of the ninth, and I got the bases loaded, 2 outs, I want him up.
I do too.
Every time.
He's been clutch all this season.
Big time.
And I know it sounds like it's a stretch to say that he's actually our best hitter right now. Look, I think it's 1 and 1A.
Jay.
What's that?
We had that exact debate yesterday. I asked that question.
And I think
if I just needed a single, I'd rather have Kwan.
Yeah, he's better than Kwan.
Yeah, but I'm talking I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm saying.
You're talking about you need a big bat.
Got you.
And you're in a spot where you're not down 1, you're down 2, and you've got 2 guys on. Who do you want coming up?
Yeah.
Yes.
Jose's off to a bit of a slow start for him. But Josh Naylor, and I talked to Josh about hitting lefties at spring training this year. And I said, you did something that's one of the most difficult things in all of baseball to do. You worked on your weakness, and you improved it to where you're actually above average.
It's hard to believe.
And he said, I just put it in my mind. He said it's a mindset. We're told in baseball that you can't hit lefties if you're a left-handed hitter. He's like, I just wiped that thought out of my mind and worked really hard in the offseason about hitting pitches from that angle, and he turned it into a strength. And now when you look at the front of their lineup, when you've got guys that can switch hit, and you've got guys now that are actually hitting lefties better than righties are hitting lefties.
Yeah.
It's going to be really tough for teams to match up against the Guardians with lefties, where in years past, we were horrible against lefties.
Well, Kwan can hit lefties, obviously.
Kwan can hit them.
And Jimenez is, he hasn't hit for power yet, but he's hitting I shouldn't say he hasn't hit for power, he's had doubles, but he hasn't hit home runs. But it'll come, and he looks like he's back to being that guy we saw 2 years ago.
He does.
And Jose, it's been a slow start, not terrible, but a little slow, and he'll pick it up.
If he gets into that stretch where he gets, 18 home runs in a month, we've seen him do that.
And Bo Naylor's going to get hot. Bo Naylor's too talented, he'll get hot. They need a right fielder. They need a right fielder and a starting pitcher, and I'm hoping that they will get those guys. If they had a right fielder and a starting pitcher that are legit, like a solid, I'm not saying an ace, like a number 3 starter, and a right fielder that could bop 25 home runs. Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. And Naylor, if he stays healthy, he'll hit 30 home runs this year.
I don't think there's any question about. He's got 7 already.
Yeah.
They didn't give too much back defensively. Freeman has been okay in center field.
He's been very good.
Not been okay. Now they lost a little from the Gold Glover that they had. But if I'm judging him just on his center field play this year, on what I expected him to be, I thought if we can get a 7 out of him,
that's
or
what
an
I think.
8, he's been a 9.
Oh,
he's made plays. The play he made the other day where he made the catch and then the throw in. Oh my God!
Crazy.
I mean, I don't know that Miles Straw makes that play.
I mean, that is a very hard. Considering the guy never played center field before, he's been sensational out there.
Rocchio has done his thing at shortstop. I like the tandem between him and Jimenez.
And Arias has played well here of late.
Yes.
Arias has done a nice job. They're getting contributions.
How about the throw Fry made behind home plate last night?
He's played great.
He had the runner off first base because he sort of started and stopped.
Yeah.
That snap throw was as good as any you'll see.
By the way, Fry stealing. That's a steal from him. I was like, who is this kid?
Yeah.
Who's this guy?
Steven Kwan on pace for 240 hits.
That's Ichiro territory.
Yep.
That's insane.
By the way, I just saw the stat this morning. This is crazy. I don't know if anybody knew that. So Ichiro, in his 10th at bat in the majors, got a hit to improve to 3 for 10, which means he was hitting 300. From that moment on, the rest of his career, he never hit under 3. His career batting average was never under 300.
Stop playing with me.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Stop playing with me.
Somebody sent me, I can't remember if it was you, someone sent me an Instagram video, I believe, that was fascinating. It was titled, "Where Have All the 300 Hitters Gone?"
No, I don't think that
was
was
me.
me.
And the video was,
it
was set to music, and it just was a home plate and a number in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And it showed you the number of 300 hitters.
Oh, yeah, gosh.
Year by year by year by year. And it went back to when we were kids in the 80s and 90s, where there was routinely 20 guys in each league that hit 300.
Right.
And there were a couple of years where George Brett hit like 388. Rod Carew.
Tony Gwynn.
Wade
You thought,
Boggs.
man, somebody's going to make a run at 400.
Right.
Now, so the number was like 45 in the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's down to like 12.
Yeah, the only guy putting up huge batting averages was Luis Ariz the last few years.
Yes.
He's the one guy.
He is. He's the outlier.
But Kwan could be that guy. I mean, we had Hargrove on yesterday, which was great, and I asked him, because I said, to me, Steven Kwan's an old school player. Like, he's an old school leadoff hitter.
I agree with that.
And Hargrove was like, yeah, he is. He's 100%.
Any manager would love to put him at the top of
he
his
could have
lineup.
played in any era, Steven Kwan.
And I think all of this, by the way, that we're talking about, the number of 300 hitters in a season has gone down because it's become an all-or-nothing game. Everybody's swinging for the fences. Everybody wants home runs. Your contact rate goes down. I once had a conversation with Wade Boggs, who, by the way, told me before he did it that his 3,000th hit was going to be a home run. And it was. He was the first ever to do it. If you watched him take batting practice, you would say this guy's a 30 to 40 home run a year guy. He could hit 8-10 pitches in a row over the fence in batting practice. So I used to ask him, Wade, why don't you increase your power? He goes, I like hitting 350.
Yeah.
I like hitting.
Yeah.
If he played today, he'd be a 280 hitter with 40 home runs a year.
And by the way, yes, no doubt. By the way, this division is not trash either like it's been. I mean, the Royals and Tigers are much improved.
Right. The White Sox are colossal bad.
I mean, all time. They're averaging.
You know what it is? I think they've quit already.
It feels like it.
Because when I do watch them, what little I've watched them, like they're not engaged.
They're averaging 2.1 runs per game, which is all-time bad. The Twins are playing bad, but they'll improve.
Twins will be
The
better.
Royals and Tigers are decent, are both solid teams.
But I think the Royals are playing over their skis.
Yeah,
But the Tigers I like.
But I like the Royals' veteran pitchers. They're guys who know how to get outs. They're not great.
It's an interestingly built team.
Yeah,
it is.
It's a good, decent team.
Mike,
We're going to talk